Hi there, it's little Andy back in the shop. So today we're going to start trying to solve a problem which I knew I had some time ago, but kind of left it to a later date to when it became an issue. So issue is nothing significant. Some of you who know me may well know that I've not long recently finished building my motorbike, full custom jobby. Used to be Hayabusa modified, new swing arm, new electrics, new tail unit, new subframe, new front end, handlebars, all that kind of thing. Issue I have is the rear wheel conversion and swing arm has given me a problem whereby that any further maintenance I want to do on the bike, I can't actually lift the bike. I don't have a centre stand, so I can't prop it up on that. I don't really want to put a centre stand on. You can't get a paddock stand wide enough to take that wheel. Even if I could get a paddock stand, or I could make a paddock stand, however, doing a paddock stand lifts the back end up by the swing arm, which is fine, but if I want to do any work on the swing arm or the back end and take the rear wheel off, I need to support it somewhere else. So what we're going to do, and obviously one of the projects I'm coming to in the future, or very near future, is I want to make some new lowering links, and I want to drop the bike by about 20 mil because my little legs can't reach the floor properly. So what we're going to do is the fixing points that were designed for the centre stand, I'm going to make a system that bolts on using the 3 points there, which will then give me a flat plate on the bottom, which I can then bolt to the bike when I need to, and use a modified bike lift, which I have, which I used when I made the bike. When I made the bike was suspended from an arm above it. I'll drop in a couple of pictures here, basically with rope system, and I hung the bike by the front frame and the engine while I worked on it, built it, and then as it drops down, it's fine. But obviously now that the bike's complete, I can't sling it with a rope without dismantling the tank, damaging paintwork, things like that. So I want this a way of when I want to do things, I can basically jack the bike up, and that between the back and maybe a paddock stand on the front for a front wheel or some other system, I could then maybe lift the entire bike off the floor to do anything I want. So there's, use this, give you an idea which way we're going. So there's basically there's a fixing point there and there, and a looks like boobies, and a third one here. I'm gonna have a solid bar which can be bolted through this fixing point. I want to drop a couple of bars off this, which I'll weld to a large rectangular flat plate here, and then triangulate this to the third one. Might be easier. Side on view, lug there, solid point, couple of rods coming down, flat plate, another bar which can be bolted to that section. Should be nice and rigid and strong. So first things first, I have a bar of steel for the fixing point, which is this one. Funny enough, I had this rattling around in my scrap. This was a heatsink that I used when I made a mountain bike for my GCSE project, and this lump of metal has been following me around for about the last 25 years, looking for a home and wondering what to do with it. As it happens, this bar skimming off with a little bit of weld and gnarliness in the end is exactly the right width to fit between those two fixing points, which you'd think I might have made it at an exact tolerance of something sensible. Turns out that 102 millimeters long is the right size, and that's how big that is by other than 1/4 mil. So I'm just going to face off the ends, and then we're going to use this to make the mounting points for the lugs. So if I chuck this in, all we're really doing is facing off the ends with this. So nothing exciting, and then we're going to drill out a hole down the centre for an M12 bolt, which will slide through all the way through this rod, and then we can bolt it through onto the two centre lugs of the bike. Around here where you can see a bit better. So I don't need to clean up the outside. I'll give that a tart up before I weld, so I can get a decent weld in it. But I don't. The diameter is not really critical. It's more about the width of the fit and getting the right size hole down the centre. There we go. You see that a bit better now. How's that? There we are. That face is cleaned up. What we need to do now is put a centre drill in, put a centre, start drilling. So, back to tailstock, centre drill, basically, you can go straight in with the drill, but the idea of a centre drill, it's stubby and very rigid. So you get that perfect centre dot. So when you come to drill, it doesn't wander. So theoretically, we should get a nice parallel straight hole. All good. Centre drills on the other side. Hole. We'll start drilling. Start with a smaller size. Work the way up to a 12mm bit, which gives us a clearance hole for an M12 drill. Start with a 5mm. This is the sharpest drill bit in the world. Get it going, it'll move up. size. 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go for an 8. As a general rule of thumb, larger the size of the drill bit, the slower you want to go. So I'll drop the speed down a little bit. quite getting through. A bit more stick out of my drill. I'm on the 102, so where is that? 102. Should clear it. Like that. Nearly there. 2 or 3 mil. I should do it. Just for 10, and then after the 10, straight up to the 12. Last one, come around here, different view. How's that? How's that? That's better, isn't it? Oh, we can see what's going on. Get rid of this out of the way as well. Some of this crap. Very nice, and we get nice long chips. Every so often as I'm driving the drill in, I'm just doing a split second pause just to stop, a fraction of a second, and it breaks the chip, stops it coming off in one huge spool. So I'm running it 6 inches of chip, quick pause, breaks the chip, stops it, and then get the big rat's nest. I've picked up the right drill bit, this should just not fit. Got the right bolt, I believe I do. Yeah, that's an M12, isn't it? Oh, what do you know? I need a bigger drill bit. What's that? Chances of that? And that's not the bolt I need. It is the right size hole. Drop this off. And since we've got it in here, we may as well clean up the metal. So it's a bit nicer for when we come to weld it. Side, bit rough. It's a non-critical diameter, and the finish is only reason I need a partially reasonable finish is to clean it up so it's ready for welding. So strap off. Go. It's not too bad. Right size hole, 12mm all the way through. It's a little bit warm. So next step, let's put it down while it burns my hand, is so we need the braces to come down from this piece onto the plate. Basically, imagine this is the plate. It's not. It's going to be a flat plate like that, but much bigger. That's going to be suspended here. We need 2 bars to come down, which are going to be basically these scabby bits of metal, a bit shorter though. Initial thoughts were to cut around on this, so it's got a radius matching the radius of that, so it sits nicer and flat, matches the curve, so it's easier to weld. Having said that, although it's possible, when it came to weld these on, these are going to be like this, and if they've got a round they will fit nice, but I don't want them ending up skew or a funny shape. So instead of machining these to match the radius of that, I'm going to drill 2 holes in here, same diameter as this, 16mm, so these will drop in and locate, and that will basically mean that they are perfectly parallel and straight up. So here we go, off to the milling machine. It's still hot. Ha 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 ha. That there. And we'll get some stuff to clamp that in. A couple of V-blocks to hold it straight. I think I'll leave it like that. And be out of the way. Yes, they will. I'll do it that way around so I can see what I'm doing. Short side, turn it around. Nice and tight in there. So first things first, we'll drop this down. Although again, it's not hypercritical. I want them equidistant from the ends, or equally spaced from the center. So what we need to do now is we need to find the ends of this part using the DRO. We'll do some calculations based on that. But to find the end, what we need is to use one of my favourite pieces of kit to use. The right size collet, which is 20. Look at this piece. It's not something that you'd normally have in your average hobby machine shop. It's one of my favourite pieces of kit. A Hayabusa 3D gauge, which normally for edge finding you would use, you would use like a wiggler or a probe or a DTI. The wigglers work on one axis, and you get basically, when it offsets, if you're splitting to find the center, it's fine, but if you're finding an edge, you've got to take into the thickness of that wiggler into account. On this, the probe works in every direction, front, back, left, right, and even plunge. It takes into account the size of the tip of the ball, so it automatically works out the calculations for the center point for you. A bit more space. Powered knee would be lovely. Lock this into here. I'll bring this around so you can see what's going on. Put the juice on. So the way this works, we'll need to bring this back up. Bring it along to find our first edge. Lift this up, and then if you can see the gauge here, we dial this along until it makes contact. Keep going until the black dial is at 0. Let me rotate that a bit. Black dial is at 0 and the red dial comes to 0. Slowly bring that up. And then we can 0 our Y. Take the pressure off. Drop that down a bit. Move it to the other side. Lift it back up again. And then when we bring it back the other way, make contact, and we'll bring that back around to 0. And then we can go half Y. And that'll basically now sanity check. If we drop that down, and in our DRO row, if we move to 0 there, if that's correct, that should be dead center of the part. If you can see that, right in the middle. By eye, looks right, DRO says right, everything says right. Now we need to go and do the same front to back. So, although I've covered both sides of the part, what's the best way to do that? Well, we know that side, we can do it that side. So, it's making contact with here, which is the flat part, and I can touch on that side there. So, if we bring this forward, make contact with here, bringing that round to 0. At 0 our X. Pressure off, bring it over here. Bring it to the center line of our. Going to use the V blocks as a guide to getting the right center height. bring that over there so I can see a bit better. That looks about, yep. And then onto the side of the part. Dial that in again to 0 there. And then we can go off of X. And now we know center on the width and center front to back. And we can work out from there where we want to drill. Easy peasy. Take this out of the way. And bring it over here. New collet for our milling cutter. 16 mil. Which is that one. Check. Yep. Right, bring this all the way back up. Power day would be lovely. Right, so we'll bring that to center, which is there, and we'll bring the front back to 0, so I know I'm in the middle. There. We can lock that because we don't want to move it. And right then, so we'll just need to decide how far apart we want. I would say we want them, I don't want it right on the edge, probably say 10 mil, so that's 35 mil from center. So if we'll go 35. And the bolt's going there, so if we work out, I don't want to break through into the centre tunnel where my bolt is going through. So if we leave us 2 mil clearance from that, bring our stop down. All the way there. Just lock them in like that. That gives us a depth. Bring it back to with 35. 635. 210. I don't know why I'm chasing 1/100 of a millimetre. It's not critical, but a little bit of OCD in there. It's nice to get it just right. 3. Cool. And then cutting fluid. So it's nice to have a bit of cutting fluid. -35. 16mm ripper end mill isn't really first choice for drilling a hole, but I want a flat bottom, and I should really centre drill, pre-drill and work my way up and finish off maybe with the ripper, but you know, I'm impatient. I'm getting a bit of vibration. This isn't the most hypercritical part for accuracy, so eye protection. The hole is only about 10mm deep, so I haven't got a long way to go. So it's not. There's a lot of people out there, machinists, which will be watching this go, what are you doing? And to be fair, if this was somebody else and I was sitting watching them, I would be going, what are you doing? Feel free to scream and shout. I do not disagree. Funny wobble. Machine's complaining. I don't think. There we go. Look at that. Still hot, hot, hot. That was cool down. That was cooled down a bit. There we go. 2 nice holes. Haven't broken through. So they should, again, if my measurements are correct, locate with these 2 pins. Perfect. I've got a little bit of wiggle room. Little bit of wiggle on them, so I'm still going to have to make sure I line them up and before I weld them, put a few tacks on there and get them make sure they're nice and true, because I don't want them ending up like that, or like that, or like that, or like that, or like that. That doesn't make sense. Good joysticks. Anyway, okay, right then, we'll get set up for welding and I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so I've got my bar cut down, 2 bits, same size, ready to weld into the little sockets I've made. Obviously I was talking before about the little spitter slot I've got and getting these straight. Obviously because I've planned ahead and using an end mill, I've got a perfectly flat bottom. I've got a faced edge from the lathe, so here. So as long as this is clamped tight, it will naturally find it's perpendicular to the piece. So all I've got to do is make sure this is clamped tight before I weld, and that will naturally force it into a straight position. So I could use a big clamp, but I've got a vise here, so I'll just use that. Make sure it's nice and tight. Easy as that. Easier than I thought it was going to be. Some rough scabby metal, so could go for the MIG, but today, because it's nice and quiet and much more civilized, we're going to go and take it. A short one, we'll put a tack on it and make sure everything lines up nicely. Tack. Check it. Use a little square. Check it with a wee square. Beautiful. I don't know if you can see that. Nice and square. That bit again isn't hypercritical the way it is there, because it's going to be bolted like this coming to a plate. So if this is off in that direction, it doesn't really matter, because this is going to be on a plate which is triangulated to the next fixing point. As long as this plate is flat, so when it's the jacking point comes up and sits flat and can be bolted to that, it doesn't really matter where this is, like that, as long as this meets this and the plate stays parallel. So as long as these two pieces, wherever it is, where's it gone? Where's the other bar gone? Where did it go? Did you see it roll away when I wasn't looking? What? It's right in front of me. Doy. Do this one, clamp it up, we'll get a tack on it and check it. Make sure if it looks right, then we can run a bead all the way around. Say, for dirty metal like this, dirty rods, dirty, MIG is the way to go, because it just smashes through everything. TIG really needs to be nice and clean. Everything needs to be spotless to get a decent weld. If I was building a swing arm again, it would be immaculate. This is a rough piece that's basically made out of pig iron, way over engineered in thickness, so it's functional, not pretty. Tack on there. Now all you machinists out there have had your chance to have a scream and shout at the video. Now it's all you welders' turns to scream and shout at me and tell me what I'm doing wrong. But you don't have to. I know. Up here, we'll run a bead around. Watch your eyes. Starting to get a bit hot now. Golden hot end. Get all the way around there one pass. I think we might. Beautiful. You say sarcastically. Not the prettiest weld. It's not going to win any awards. I wouldn't exactly say it's coded standard or X-ray quality. Get your die pin on that. No, don't. Yeah, we should get that in. Just reached around. Lovely jubbly. Right, well, we'll leave that to cool down. Have a zoom in on my incredible work. I know how you like close-up shots to see how badly someone's done. But it looks parallel, everything looks good. We'll let that cool down, and the next time we come back we'll have a flat plate. We can mount that, and then we can run the triangulation piece and work out how long that needs to be, drill the holes, get it welded up, and almost there. See you soon. Okay, we're back again. The part's welded up and nice and cool now, so I can handle it. Next things to do is to mount the base plate, which has finally come, and also the third leg, if you will, to go to the third mounting point to stabilize it, which is cut and prepped. So to line up where everything's going, basically I'm going to bolt this on the bike, we'll offer this up, we'll put a tack in place to line it up, and we'll get a tack on this, take it off the bike, and then weld it all properly. Come with me. Hanging free, two little pegs hanging down. We'll centralise this by eye. It's not hypercritical that it goes in exactly the right place, as long as it's roughly central, and enough space to get the third arm on, welded up, and it's going to match up with the third mounting point. So, come on. Grounding point on here. Down the bottom. Extra pair of hands would be good. see if we can't secure this with a magnet so we can, or a prop, so we can get a bit of filler on it. It's a bit thick just to tack on its own. Let's have a look. What can we use? A couple of blocks of wood. Bit more. Nicely. A little bit forward. Lovely. Try that one. Should be enough to hold the main plate on, and we'll see if we can line up the support bar and get that tacked on. Sitting parallel. Right, unbolt that, see how it looks. the good side. Get a set of pliers because it's a bit hot. There we go, tacked up. You get the idea now. We'll just eat things on here. We'll get that set up and we'll weld it properly. So give me a moment to get this set up. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, we're back. All clamped up, everything looks pretty straight. We've got a couple of tacks on either side to start from wondering why we weld. We'll get it welded up properly. Not wondering. With a lead on there, let's see. So peek that over a little bit. Actually, what we need is just the bar. Just the bar. Pull on the weld the other side. Sorry, I'm blocking your view. Put it back up welding. side there. It's the main part welded on. Just run a couple of beads along here as well. Try and do it in such a way where you can see what's going on. Just dip my tungsten right at the last bit. Lovely jubbly. The last thing you want to do is dip your tungsten. Luckily, at least it was at the end. Right, that's welded up. We'll let that cool down. Get it back on the bike. We'll make sure everything still lines up. Hopefully it does. If so, then we've just got to drill a hole through there, which lines up with the third mounting point for the third bolt, and then jobs are good. We'll try the jack, lift it up the bottom, make sure it lines up, and then see if we need to either drill this for mounting points to clamp it to the jack unit, or if it's okay without it, maybe we could just clamp it on. We'll make that bit up as we go along, like the rest of it, and I'll see you shortly. Okay, here we are, rolling around on the floor under the bike. Let's do a test fit. Get it bolted on and see if we can mark up where the hole's got to be drilled for the third bolt. All going to plan. It should slide up here. Still fit between the arms. So far so good. Not hitting anything it shouldn't. Alright, that's it. Looks like it lines up perfectly. I am ever so slightly further along with this leg, away from the third mounting point, only by about 2 or 3 mil, so a spacer washer in there be fine. Just pack that out. Now we've just got to work out where we want to drill this hole. Obviously where we drill the hole, we'll adjust the angle. So we want it fairly straight, but obviously as the bike lifts up, it's going to tilt away. So we want to start with it ever so slightly forward, just so when it is lifted, it becomes straighter to compensate. Get through there with that. Hold it steady. See, that's, I think it's marked it. Can't see, it's too dark. Let's pop it off. we've got a mark which isn't far off centre actually, which, to be fair, consider it's all done by eye. That's worked out pretty straight. So we'll get this in the drill and we'll pop a hole that I am using and back up to civilization. There you are. I'm using M10 bolt, so I've got an 11mm drill. Give us a little bit of clearance and a little bit of wiggle room. Don't mind me. What about if we come over here like that? Let me see what's going on. There we go. How's that? We'll get it clamped up in the pillar drill. That's the best way to clamp this. I'll get a parallel to put in there to keep it straight. Size. Still gives us a little bit of meat to clamp onto. Yeah, perfect. It's a bit too wide, my drill's going to hit it. I've got a narrower parallel. That's better. Parallel it is. Just take that out now. Start with a smallish drill. Cut now. Best idea ever. Never lose your chuck key. Well, that hits that. That doesn't work. Right, start again. So I'll leave that over there. It's too high for the clamp. I can see the milling machine calling my name here. See now that moves with it. Oh, might be alright. We'll stop that from moving. Oh, moves with it. Let's try that again. Parallel. Oh, what's that? There we go. Next size up, I'll go from a 4 to a 6. Just drop the table down. Size again, we'll go from a 6 to a 8. Why not? I'm gonna get in, or just We may need to move the table down a little bit. Or the 10 and the 12. 10 and 11, sorry. Number 10, we're going to get the 10 in, but we're not. That way. Nope, we're going to move the table down. Shall realign. That's good there. Okay, last one. Hopefully this one's sharper than the 10. Okie dokie. Give that a wipe. Don't worry, no you're there, I'm coming. Bring you over here. Where are you? There you are. And we're up again. There we go. Right, there we go. Hole drilled. We'll get a deburr on there. Just to take off the sharp edges. Basically deburring tool. Give it a little tickle. Take off any sharp, rough edges because we like smooth. There we go, and that's pretty much finished. We'll do another test fit of the bike. I'll probably leave you, and I'll run away and put my jack together, and we'll give it a try. So I'll be back in a second. I'll bolt it on the bike. We'll get the jack out, and then if I come back crying and the bike's on the side, you know I tried it and it didn't work. I'll see you soon. Okay, we're back. The plates bolted onto the bike. Down here, nice and snug. I've got my lift set back up, put back together. So let's do a slightly nervous. I would rather have another person here to grab the bike should the wheels fall off, but I don't, so let's go. Let's see if we'll get it over the first hole, if it still fits under the bike without fouling anything. so far so good. Line it up square to the plate that we've got. Yeah. And then the plate should be square when I lift it up. That's going to foul my clutch housing. I'll bring it back a little bit. That looks alright there. Try and keep the bike straight on the balance point. Ease that tilt back a little bit. Nope, still going to foul the clutch housing. Bring that back a little bit. Yeah, got clearance there. Just offer it up. Find where it wants to be in the middle. Release. No hands. Is it still on the plate on this side? Yep. Let's see if it lifts it off the ground. Keep it square. That wheel sliding. I'm not going to lie, I'm slightly nervous. Feels like. Give it a little wobble. Actually feels quite secure. Walk around. Acid test. The back wheel off the ground. I think I will clamp that plate or bolt it. Make a bolt point for the lift. Still nervous, so I'm going to stand around here and put my hand on it. Looks like the centre point, the front, is actually going to just line up perfectly with the engine between the exhaust, so I can put a little block in there and lift the entire bike off the ground. By the looks of it, that looks like it'll work perfectly. It actually feels pretty secure, but I'm not going to chance my luck, so we'll let it down. Yeah. Make sure it hasn't knocked the centre stand out the way, the side stand. Hey! Well, if you Adam and leave it, well, I would call that 100% success. It works. Lifts the bike off the ground. Well, gets the back wheel off. Looks like I can be able to mount it to get the entire bike off the ground using the existing lift. Means I can work at the back, which will be the next project, lowering the back end of the booster. So, thank you for your time. Have fun. And I'm going to try not to break my bike now. See you soon. Bye.